We're here with head coach Zach Zedrick. Coach, second place performance at the Wolf Run Intercollegiate. How do you feel about the team's performance there?
Overall, I'm really pleased. I thought they competed well. I think two things really stuck out. I think the second round, the conditions changed significantly. The wind came out of a different direction, and it was blowing a little bit stronger in the first round and made the course play a fair amount tougher, and I thought we did a great job handling that. I think the tendency you'll see in college golf is when something even as simple as wind direction, comes out of a little different direction or it gets a little stronger, it completely changes the golf course. I thought we did a great job of handling that. And then even though we came up short on Sunday as a team, just the way the guys competed. Kentucky was a really good team last year. They're going to be a really good team this year. Same for Central Florida, but our guys competed like they belonged in that pairing, which in my mind they do, and they believe that. And I think that bodes really well because we're going to see a lot of good teams throughout the year. And I think we're at a point where we don't really see a difference. It's just it's another team that if we play our best, that it's another team we'll beat. So.
All right. You had a 1-2 finish with Patrick and Brian. What about their games this past week?
Well, I mean, that 66 that Brian shot on Friday was really impressive, and it's tough when you play with the lead for the whole tournament. And even though he ended up shot back a Pat, thought he handled it great. He played with a lot of maturity and a lot of poise, and he knew on the 18th hole Pat finished ahead of him. Brian knew he needed to make a 3 to tie, and ironically enough, had a shot that he's been working on quite a bit the last few weeks. Executed it perfectly, had a 6-footer for birdie, just didn't make the putt. So really proud of Brian, and obviously really proud of Pat too. Pat got off to a pretty shaky start at the beginning of the tournament, and then I think he pitched in on his 9th hole, maybe to get it back to 2 or 3 over for the day, and then just played better and better as the week went on. So for those two guys to play the way they did on that type of golf course, can't think of a better way for those two guys to start the year for sure.
Next up for Miami in about a week is the Inverness Intercollegiate, played at the famous Inverness course in Toledo. What can we kind of expect from that tournament?
It's another fantastic golf course. I think they've hosted 6 major championships. So for these guys, it's important to me as the coach that we play the kind of places that are going to test our guys in a way that's going to get them ready for the next level. And Inverness probably does one of the best jobs at telling someone when they leave on Tuesday, like, here's what you're doing well and here's what you got to get better at. There's a lot of history there. It's a cool place. It's always a great field. We're going to see some really good teams there again. But playing Wolf Run, I think it really helps to prepare us for Inverness, because it's another golf course where there's birdies that are out there, but there's going to be some stretches where it gets kind of tough, and you're going to have to make some hard pars, and you're going to have to dig in, and it maybe be okay with making a 5 or a 6, and then stepping on the next tee like nothing's happened. So, I'm excited. Our guys are excited. So we're ready to take advantage of the next 4 days in town before we leave on Saturday, and then we'll go try it again.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck
Thanks.
this week. We're here with Brian Orr after a second-place individual finish at the Wolf Run Intercollegiate. What do you feel were some of the strengths and weaknesses of the team's performance this weekend?
Well, I think the team did a great job this week. Coach told us after every round that it seemed like we belonged out there to be contending to be a winning team, and we just looked poised and calm. And I think we did that very well all week, and just looked like we were having fun out there. Some weaknesses, maybe limiting the high numbers. Wolf Run is a really tough golf course, but most of the time you can scrape away a bogey and get out with just a good number, but maybe just limiting those high numbers.
And obviously, you opened the first round with a 66, ended up with second place, just one shot behind teammate Patrick Flavin. How do you feel about your individual performance?
Of course, I'm a little disappointed. Of course, would have liked to come out with a win, but I played really good golf this week. The first round, 66, was honestly probably the best golf I've played on such a tough golf course, and I just had a lot of fun putting myself in contention to win, and I just hope to continue the good play and put myself in that position again, and hopefully next time come out with a win.
All right. What will you be focusing on in practice? Looking forward to the Inverness Intercollegiate next week.
I think our team is doing all the right stuff. We're preparing really well. Coach is keeping us mentally prepared and skill-wise prepared. I think we need to keep the confidence up and believe that we are a top team wherever we play. And just to keep that belief going and have that confidence going into the next tournament, I think is key for us.
All right. Thank you and good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right. We're here with Patrick Flavin after his victory at the Wolf Run Intercollegiate. So, Patrick, tell me a little bit about your overall performance this weekend and what it took to win.
Yeah, well, I played really well. I had some of my best stuff for sure. I definitely had I had a rough stretch to start, and then I actually had a couple chip-ins. I had 2 chip-ins on 3 holes during the first round, which really just kind of got me going and got momentum swinging in my direction, which was huge. And then the team played really well, so I was sandwiched between Cam and Brian the first day, and then sandwiched between Charlie and Brian the last couple rounds, which was really cool. We had really good vibes going, so that was really nice, and we were rooting each other on. So, yeah, I hit the ball really well, and I made some putts, and obviously I had a little bit of magic going with those chip-ins, and I made a bunch of birdies. I felt like I handled myself really well.
What kind of challenges did you see from that course?
Wolf Run is a really challenging course. We've been going there for 4 years now, and we have qualifying out there. So I'm getting really comfortable, but it's one of those courses where if you hit it offline, you're re-teeing. So that leads to lots of double bogeys in some cases. But for me, I stayed away from those. I hit the ball really well off the tee, and I was just really solid. And I think especially with the wind being one direction during the practice round and the first round, and then completely switching the second 2 rounds, that was an advantage for us because we had been out there a bunch of times, and we have guys that really know how to adjust. So I think being able to adjust those conditions was something I did really well.
All right. What will you be focusing on in practice? Looking forward to next week's Inverness Intercollegiate.
Definitely putting. I think if there was anything that held me back a little bit, it was my putting. I still putted well, and I made some good birdies down the stretch, especially that back 9 with a chance to win, competing with Brian. But I think that's something that I could really work really hard on this week, and I know that if I putt well, then I'll be tough to beat next week. And I know that as a team, if we all putt well, then we'll be tough to beat at Inverness. So I think I'm going to work really hard on my putting, and then obviously still hit a bunch of balls and play a lot of golf. So we'll be ready to go for sure.
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.